Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. It's our Best of Wrestling 2023 episode.
Probably one of my favorites of the year, I'd say.
Video's back. Wave to everybody on video as we were just talking about doing set design.
Yeah, we did some
a little moving around of lights and things behind us in the background. So if you've never seen us and you want to see us, I don't know why that would be the case, but you can.
I don't want to see
I think this is our third time doing video. We'll see how it goes.
We did, what was the first one we did for video? Was that the NXT one, I think?
It was NXT Arrival.
What was the last one we did? It was Full Gear, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was one of like the bonus reviews for sure, because we don't do flagship video.
And Full Gear may come up today.
It might.
Well, Happy New Year to everybody. It is
first day of 2024.
January 1st, first day of 2024.
Yeah.
Hope you had a good, safe, happy, fun New Year's. We were at a party down the street. If you're a regular listener, and you know I talk about getting together with people down the street. This was one of the larger events, right?
Yeah, because there's people like...
Probably...
More people from our side of the street.
Yeah.
Which usually it's like... I think mostly the other side of our street. Because our street, it's one of those ones where it's like... split by another road, so there's like one half of the street and there's the other one. We
joke about we're the East End, and Chuck and Mike are like middle, and then Richard's down on the
because they're like
end.
way far down. They're like the opposite of us.
So yeah, it was very fun. I think I got home just after 2. I walked home in shorts and slides.
Yeah, because I remember I wasn't asleep yet.
Why was I in shorts, Jack?
Because you wanted to torture me.
Because it was a 90s themed New Year's. So I went as a 90s basketball player because my
your actual high school clothes.
My plan was to wear grunge stuff because that's what I was, and I have
that would have been cooler.
Concert t-shirts and plaid shirts and whatnot. But then I was looking in my closet and I literally have basketball shorts from the 90s, a Steve Nash basketball
When you
jersey
said your
from the
jersey, I thought
90s.
you meant like an actual like your high school
jersey.
No,
but your mother was wearing my high school warm-up basketball jersey.
That was strange.
Which was really strange because there's a woman down that lives in the cul-de-sac that went to our high school, so she recognized the shirt.
Someone I know?
Yeah. Tina.
Ryland's mom?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why that was one of the ones
she went to the same high school. I didn't know. We found out just through Facebook, I think. But anyways.
That, yeah.
Anyways, I had a good time. I think you made it till midnight and then you bailed pretty quickly because
I got home at 12:20, I think.
Nice.
And watching Monday Night Raw tonight?
No.
New Year's?
Absolutely not.
No.
That's not how.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to talk about all the stuff that we loved about
the best of the best
2023, and I'm going to propose a slight change right here in front of you and see how you feel about it. Because going through, we have it in a shared document, right? And I see how much you've written for stuff, and a lot of it includes recap. So I think you should just go first for everyone.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
That's fair. I did do that because I just when I'm getting into my picks, I just all the stuff comes back to me, and then I feel like incorporating that. And I feel like it's also helpful to you because
it is. One of mine is literally I didn't have a lot of plans for this category, and then I read yours, and it was a convincing argument. So you provide more context and color. Fair. So I think
why don't you introduce the awards? I'll run the nominees.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, awesome. I like that. And we'll start. I have a bunch of the honorary ones. Last year, I only did it for the worst stuff just to be a prick, but now we're going to even it out with just things I like from the year. And I said you can chime in if you'd like.
And again, we're combining all rosters this year because I'm more the NXT expert. Neither of us really watch much WWE.
We both watch AEW. And then we also have some outside stuff from like Impact and I don't think a little bit of ROH.
And we've watched every WWE PLE, right?
We just didn't finish Payback, I think, but we peeped
everything. Oh, that's
everything.
true. I lied. We didn't watch
I don't think it was anything.
We didn't make it through.
Anything banner, though.
But so, yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be probably pretty AEW heavy because that is the company that gets the majority of our attention.
But we try to balance it out the best we can.
We definitely try.
Yeah.
All right. And yes, you're going to go through some of your honorary awards, just things from the year that you...
Just me being me.
Yeah, you being you.
Okay,
correct.
So...
Go ahead.
Go off. Okay. First thing I had was Ring Gear of the Year, which you'll find this amusing. It's a tie between White Penta, Butch from Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins from Elimination Chamber, Kenny Omega from Blood and Guts, and Will Ospreay from All In. Want to guess what they all have in common?
Wearing white.
Yes, they are all white gears. That's really nice. But yeah, those are all great. The looks some of those are so clean. The Rollins, I'm really disappointed signing.
And so if you're new, I'm the one who doesn't remember anything, and he remembers everything. That's kind of our gimmick. He's the detail guy. I'm the not.
That's how we roll.
Only one that stands out to me of those that I would say I remember White Penta.
Of course.
Everything
Penta
else
is just
everything else I'm like
a marvel to watch.
I trust you, but I don't remember.
Right, that's fair. Rebrand of the year was Backlash cutting off the WrestleMania part. Because last 2 years, remember WrestleMania Backlash?
That was.
So, I mean, come on.
They just make you feel stupid saying it.
Yep. Oh, I hated it.
You don't want to say it, and then it becomes a joke where I don't say it, and you add it every time. WrestleMania.
Well, I said it this year, I think, just for fun. Best sponsored match was the Like a Dragon Gaiden Street Fight with the Don Callis family.
Is that because all the other ones were terrible?
Yeah, and I remember we actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, and every other one is like
horrible.
In WWE is angering.
I don't know if I told you. I think I did text you that I saw that game on Xbox Game Pass, so I could play that for free.
Nice.
Best show we were live for, of course, Forbidden Door.
Easy.
Let's be real.
I don't know. Seasons beatings from Great Canadian Wrestling that we just saw with the main event of Bone Crusher Steve Brown.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this one right in front of you. Father of the Year, Christian Cage.
As a father, I can't
disagree with that. You can't disagree with it.
I mean, my game is pretty good, but
it's questionable.
He's on a tier unto himself.
Unmatched. I owe to be Nick Wayne,
Exactly.
Best, what I'll call music moment was Hangman reverting back to Ghost Town Triumph after a brief absence, because I say this every time. It's something you notice.
And I just said I'm the one who doesn't notice.
You don't remember. So that, and Hangman's theme is it's the perfect theme for me. It just sounds cool. It's chill. It fits him perfectly. And it's just, I don't know. It's just so enjoyable. And they switched it. And it was one of the biggest outrages I think I've had for something so tiny.
I was annoyed by it.
Yeah. He had
Not only did I notice, but I was like, why would you do that? The guy has the perfect song.
It's the perfect theme. Speaking of themes, I thought best licensed theme is Jane for Orange Cassidy. I think just the build up with that, it works perfectly for him.
Yeah.
Although the Elite are trailing him because Carry On Wayward Son
what would your other nominees be? But that
is really good.
Yeah.
Crowd show of the year was that one during the MJF and Samoa Joe promo. The profanity.
Oh, we laughed.
That was one of the funniest things of the year.
Watched it like 5 times.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Best entrance for a one-off was I thought Swerve Strickland's at Full Gear. With the dancers and
I love that.
Beautiful. Best belt of the year, which I would classify as any belt introduced this year, was I thought the World Heavyweight title. I think it's like a really good mixture of the old one and the new one. That one. It's the one that Rollins has, if you remember what it looks like. It's like the new version of the big gold.
Right,
I think it looks really nice. Yep. And considering some of their lazy belt work this year, I think it's really nice. And then to honor our segment of High Spot and Wrestled, High Spot of the year would go to Will Ospreay's Tiger Driver 91 from Forbidden Door.
Where he almost killed.
Where he just drops Omega on his head.
Yeah, he did.
And that is all.
Very good. I don't have anything to add, but I like all those choices.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move into our awards. Same order as last year, I believe.
We are going to include our picks from last year just for comparison's sake.
Because I'm a podcast nerd and I listen to other people do that, and it's something I heard someone doing, and I quite like that they were reminiscing about what they picked last year, because I probably won't remember mine. Mm-hmm. So our first category to get underway is going to be Best Commentator.
Mm-hmm. So last year for both of us went to Excalibur, because he's awesome.
He is awesome.
Nominees for this year are obviously Excalibur, then Tony Schiavone, Kevin Kelly, who was on AEW a decent amount.
He was.
This year. I remember him at Forbidden Door at least. Taz and Tom Hannafin of Impact fame.
I also like Caprice Coleman. I just don't see enough of him to include him on this, right? But I think he's fine too. Yeah.
So honorable mention goes out to Kevin Kelly. I enjoy him whenever I hear him. I don't hear him like a ton, but I did more this year, and especially at Forbidden Door. He was really helpful with the New Japan history, because he's really good at providing quick context for you. I thought his commentary on my favorite match was
helpful.
Perfect.
Yep.
But my favorite commentator has to go to Excalibur again. He provides the most value for me because he calls moves for us. It's really helpful for note taking. And he'll point out history between people. He's generally pretty straightforward, but sometimes he gets those random quips like the ones against Don Callis. He's really funny. And also, we like AEW for being an alternative, and he is an alternative to WWE commentary because he calls all the moves, whereas they don't really, especially on NXT.
Yeah, and I get really frustrated.
So Excalibur is definitely my pick.
Yeah, I'd throw an honorable mention at Tom Hannafin just because I don't think a lot of people watch Impact, and I think he's actually a really good lead commentator.
I never hated him in WWE either.
No, he's a pretty talented guy. And before I knew, I assumed it was the pick I made last year, and it's going to be the same pick this year because Excalibur is the best commentator, right? He's informative, knowledgeable. He gets excited, but not over the top, you know what I mean? So that when he does get really excited, it means something because it's not a constant thing. He is just, as what I watch, he's by far the best right now. Like, it's not really close. This was one of those categories that was really quick for me to decide.
For sure, yeah.
And then, next category we have... I was going to say, I don't think we had this last year. This is the best entrance, so this is definitely right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely. Nominees, we have Swerve Strickland, Metaphor from NXT, the Gun / Bullet Club Gold, the Spotlight entrance specifically.
Yes.
Because Bullet Club Gold, like, they don't always use it, or like Jay White doesn't usually use it, but when they do it all together, the Guns have done it with Juice. It's awesome.
Yes.
Orange Cassidy is really nice. Like I said, the build up with Jane. The Elite's entrance with Carry On Wayward Son is always really cool because it's got that kind of build up too. And Moose for Impact. I always really enjoy his.
This might be the only Impact thing you nominated.
I think so. Maybe
every other Impact might be me.
I think maybe I put in the worst. I don't know. But this is one of the ones, I just straight up put in. For me, honorable mentions go to Metaphor and Moose for standing on products I don't often care for.
Yeah.
I think Metaphor's entrance is really cool, the way they all introduce in, and then Moose is looks pretty big time for Impact, who don't usually go in big places. Like, they're usually pretty small, so I think his is really awesome.
And it's something for Impact that has to be okay in like a smaller venue too, right? Yeah. It's because they don't always have space or production or whatever, so it's kind of...
This is really cool. Although this category is relatively unimportant, I was still very torn.
I bet you
The two options I'm stuck between are two of my favorite entrances going. The good things I could say about one, I could say about the other. I'm torn between Bullet Club Gold, the Guns entrance, and Swerve Strickland's. I think the spot entrance for the Guns with the rotating camera and the water gun spit thing, it really elevated them to look like top guys. I think it honestly really helped their presentation for me, just having something that makes them look really cool. You know what I mean? I think it really helped. They also had that one-off entrance with the 50 Cent song that worked really well. But Swerve's mean mugging entrance with Nana also elevated him. So you could say the same thing, right?
Yep.
It makes him look like a main event money talent, and I always get a kick out of Juice Robinson making faces and noises in his entrance.
He's awesome.
And I also get a kick out of Nana, right? So there's things on each. I think I have to give a slight edge to Swerve Strickland, though. The Bullet Club Gold entrance is fantastic. Helped loads with my perception of the Guns, but Swerve's has just helped elevate him to a spot where he's ready for something big. And I love Nana dearly, so I'm going to pick Swerve Strickland for sure.
This is 2023 will be like, this was the year of Swerve on this show. Big year for him. So same, I wanted to shout out Metaphor. I think theirs
is really good.
It's legit, and like some of the talent in that group's not ready to move up to main roster, but that entrance is good to go with the little. If you haven't seen it, it's like
they got like different colored light bars coming down on the Tron
on each person striking like a pose. Anyways,
the theme works perfectly with that.
It just looks like it's polished and ready. But like you, this one is Swerve for me. The music is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Nana is awesome, and specifically the contrast between Nana's antics and Swerve just looking like
doing nothing.
So stoic is the word, right?
Yeah.
And he just sort of, it all works. He's just, for me, the coolest wrestler on the planet right now. And I think I sent the link to you, and you probably watched it too, an interview with Swerve about his theme and his entrance, and to see how insightful and how much detail he the whole walking really slow and looking around at everything, that's all calculated, intentional choices by him. And he also talks about talking to other experts and being open to their opinions on what to do. Yeah. So it's not just him, right? But I think that entrance, his whole presentation is amazing, and the entrance is part of it. So yeah, Absolutely. It's Swerve for me.
For sure.
All right, next we have best non-wrestling performer. So that's what, valets, managers, seconds, whatever you want to call it.
I would say even like interviewers or something would count. Obviously, I don't think we really have any of those in here, but like anything outside the ring, really.
And not commentary, because they have their own.
No, commentaries
have their own
thing, of course.
Category.
Last year we both picked William Regal for his work with Blackpool, which was pretty short, but I remember I really loved
it too. Yeah,
that was
obviously.
Really good. I'm a little disappointed still that he left,
and hasn't done anything since. It'd be different if he was popping up on NXT that I watch every week, but he's not. Yeah. His son's there, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
What's he waiting for?
Nominees are Prince Nana, of course, Paul Heyman. Even with the bloodline dipping, he's always quality. Can't fault him. Don Callis, of course, and Impact Scott D'Amore.
I kind of threw him a bone.
Yeah.
I don't love everything he does, but he does play a significant role, and there are times where I think he does a good job. So we threw him a bone.
Honorable mention to Nana for the many times he made me laugh by just dancing like a goof and elevating Swerve loads. And my other honorable mention goes to Card Blade.
Yes, you more than me, but we both enjoy Card Blade.
Card Blade's funny, especially when they had the cardboard belt.
Yes,
that was funny. I think Don Callis has to take this one for me. The sheer amount of heat he garners for just appearing is always insane. And Takeshi and the rest of them become heat men by association alone. He looks like a proper supervillain with his big forehead scar. He played a great role in the feud with the Elite this year. And he elevated Takeshi. Takeshi had a pretty solid year, especially from last year when we just
waned a little bit.
It waned for sure, no doubt. But from last year when we just were noticing him and he was picking up, I think Takeshi had some really great moments this year, and it's thanks to Callis a lot. His promos are always great, and he amuses me. He's one of the best heels around, and yes, it did wane a little, so that hurts a little, but I think the work he did this year was really great. He elevated Takeshita a bunch this year. He saved Hobbs from being...
True.
From QTV.
Obscurity.
Yeah, and Fletcher's already seen some gold, a solo gold at that, since joining, and let's not talk about Sammy Guevara there. He hasn't been visible at the end of the year, but next year I look forward to more, so I'm going to pick Don Callis.
Yeah, I narrowed it down to those as well. It could have been Callis, but I kind of feel like he disappeared from Dynamite, and because that's really the one I focus on, basically AEW for me. He was just kind of gone, right? His faction hasn't had any impact lately. Hopefully they get back on track now that the C2, as I've shortened it to in my notes.
Yep, that's what everyone calls it.
The Continental Classic is over. And Swerve and Nana are just red hot, and Nana doesn't say much or do much other than dance and sort of be there with Swerve and just sort of create that contrast that I love. But
I think that's part of it.
If I break it down to like entertainment value right now, it's that award is Nana's right now. Just for even the little bit he's doing is working so well as part of a bigger act that I think it's phenomenal. He's a big part of the best act in wrestling right now. So I'm going to give him this recognition because I haven't tired of it yet. Like the dancing gimmick, it still works somehow, right?
It's always entertaining.
So yeah, it's
beautiful.
It's Nana and Swerve again. Next one is we're looking at segment or vignette of the year, another new category. We did not do this last year.
I know we did it. I think it was either 20. I think it was 21 or 20. We've done it before because remember the acclaimed the Buck Hunt.
Yeah. Oh,
I think we just forgot about it last year.
Oh, Buck Hunt.
That was good.
And see, that's as a guy who doesn't remember a ton. That's how you know it's like years later, and I know exactly what you're talking about, and I remember it, and I loved it.
Yeah, so I think we just forgot about it last year because I know we've done it before. I remember because of that. So anyways, I guess we forgot about it last year. Yeah. Non-nominees are the Invasion of the Buddy Wayne Academy from Dynamite 200, MJS Rebar Mitzvah segment, which was, I don't remember the exact date, but it was like, I think it was post-Revolution. It was the first segment with the 4 pillars, basically.
Yes,
the one with the Darby Allin promo that I loved. MJF and Adam Cole's promo battle from Dynamite on, June 7th.
Yep.
Hangman Swerve's face-to-face from the Full Gear Go Home on November 15th. Nakamura's promo on Rollins' back, which was on some Raw. Christian's rechristening ceremony from Dynamite on November 22nd. Sammy turning on Roman at the end of the Royal Rumble. Mel and Wesley's in-ring convo ahead of Heatwave from August 15th. Danielson's promo after Revolution on Dynamite. About MJF, and then when he went home.
That was a late addition for me. Yeah. That was me going through my random list of stuff because I love that promo.
For me, honorable mentions go to the Rebar Mitzvah because MJF was great as usual, and that was my favorite promo from Darby. I just thought he killed it there.
It was awesome.
But that was slightly brought down by Jungle Boy and Guevara, who were good, but just never stellar on the mic. And also to Christian's rechristening ceremony for making me feel such sympathy for Luchasaurus in one segment because that was something special.
You're talking about my ones I narrowed it down to too, basically.
And the first interaction between Cole and MJF because that was a really great promo battle and it started something greater.
Yep.
But the segment I'm going to pick is a shorter one, but one that will no doubt live long in the memory like Buck Hunt.
Exactly.
I almost picked the Full Gear Go Home with Swerve and Hangman, but I think this is slightly better. I'm of course referring to the Invasion of the Buddy Wayne Academy. One of the earlier segments that really cemented Swerve as this living supervillain that's just perfect. It was perfectly brutal the way he and AR Fox barged in, beat down everyone. They chucked a skateboard at a guy. Nick Wayne got bloodied with a picture frame of him and his dad. And then they lay the picture, quote, where he found out his daddy wasn't with him anymore.
Right.
Then Swerve and Fox called Darby with a bloody Nick there. AR Fox motivations here were good too. It's just a shame that was too short-lived, obviously, but that's not...
It was,
That's not the fault of this segment.
No, not at all.
Everything about this little bit was really well done. It was just a start for Swerve, so I think that was a great segment. And it's still fondly remembered.
And because you talked about the other ones I narrowed it down to, I went, just to shine some light and honorable mention to Shinsuke Nakamura's promo.
That was a really good thing for main roster.
When he spoke in Japanese all about Seth's, deteriorating and problematic back, right? And it was cool as hell. He came across as really menacing, and it's just, as we've talked about a million times on our show, further evidence that you need to let people speak their first languages and then provide subtitles. There's so much more expressive.
Still enjoyable.
And amazing, right?
Yeah.
He sounded amazing here, and it gave me some hope for WWE, which I always love to have, because I'm not a big fan.
What have they done since?
As Vince distances himself and that gap widens, I'm really hopeful that I enjoy more stuff from them.
Absolutely.
But again, big year for Swerve, and the segment you just talked about, the invasion of Buddy Wayne's Academy, was my favorite. Supervillain Swerve on display.
For sure.
He's one of the only people, I think, in the entire wrestling industry who could pull this off and have it be cool and believable. And not
it was like grounded and gritty.
Like, put this in the hands of NXT.
Oh, no.
It's coming off way different, right? Yeah. I don't think there's many people in wrestling that can do what he does. His words were amazing, cold. His actions were vicious. Everything about it worked for me. Mm-hmm. And it, like you said, it like further springboarded him into like
this was one of those segments I'll remember from him.
Yeah, I will remember this segment as well. So that's how I know it's definitely wins this category for me, because I know I'll remember this.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one.
Sorry, the battery on the laptop, the little thing clipped and it was at 10%. I just saw the warning out of the corner of my eye. Okay. Wow. Our next category is taking a look at our most improved of the year.
So from last year, side note, we lumped it in with Breakout last year, and so we split it this time because they're different. It's definitely different, right?
I think so.
Because Breakout, you don't have to improve. It's just like your visibility and your star
you
quality.
You could be doing
the
exact same thing, but you're breaking out. Like
your in-ring quality can always be however good, right? Or it's just like your character work or like something, right?
Yep.
Like it's just your perception's better.
We know what we mean, dang it. Figure it out, everyone.
Nominees here are Christian Cage. We'll throw a bit of love Logan Paul's way.
You have to, honestly.
Honestly, it's as much as we don't like him.
Pains us to say it, believe me.
Oh, I don't want to say it.
Dude is good.
Dude's improved for sure. It's respectable. The Guns improved tenfold.
Yep.
Orange Cassidy, because he became one of my favorites this year, which is crazy.
Yep.
Not because I ever hated him, but just because his gimmick should have been a ceiling, but it really hasn't been. So
he does more with that than I thought possible.
Absolutely, especially this year. And Thea Hale from NXT, which is definitely your contribution.
She's gotten a lot better.
She
has.
Honorable mention to Christian Cage because he improved his character work tenfold.
Which is crazy to say of like a 25-year whatever veteran.
Yeah, he's 50 and arguably in one of the prime runs of his career.
Yep.
However, he started last year, and I'm going to praise him later, so he gets a mention here because he'll get enough love, I promise.
He will.
Similar reason for Orange Cassidy. He's improved a lot as well, but he was always good in the ring. It's just his character and the title run. But he's in here elsewhere, so I'll also leave him for later.
And it feels different from his WWE work.
For
right?
Christian, yeah.
Edge is still Edge right now, or Copeland, whatever you want to say.
He's literally still the radar superstar.
But Christian's not the same. He's he's a way more like, I don't know. It's like he's in a company not for kids, so he's not doing PG stuff anymore.
Exactly.
Right? He's allowed to do like R-rated stuff now. Which is, I didn't even know that's where I was going with that.
Well, I'm going to show some love to the Guns and say they're the most improved this year. I went from disliking them in the ring and disliking them on the mic and their characters and whatever. I used to hate them. We both used to hate them.
Agree.
But I've come to really enjoy them, genuinely. They started with a questionable, mediocre title run that felt too soon and still feels weird. But now I feel like they've reached a point where I would accept them as tag champs. Maybe not my first choice, but I would accept them.
I have no problem with it.
They've improved in the ring quite a bit. Not to say they're amazing, but I think they're pretty good now. Like, they're good hands and they could carry their weight in a match. I think they can hold their own. Character-wise, I think they've mastered their cocky second-generation shtick. They're really great pricks, especially in Bullet Club Gold. That's what really elevated them. They perfected their entrance.
Yep.
They perfected their gimmick. They were, like, even before we started to really enjoy them, when we were kind of like them, we were like, I don't love them, but they would fit in Bullet Club Gold. Yeah. And it's absolutely a perfect fit. Whereas last year, the FTR funeral segment that we really liked was an outlier. I feel like now they just do well in general. Like I said, having Switchblade and Juice with them has only helped them, and they're a really enjoyable tag team for me now. I've gone a complete 180 on them because I enjoy them a lot now, so they're going to get my pick.
And I think, like, sure, they're not FTR in the ring or whoever you want to put, but part of the heel work thing is I feel like they're aware of that, and that's part of why they cheat and do other stuff, because that's what closes the gap, kind of like Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, or Dom Mysterio.
They work well enough, but they also know they need that little edge to beat some of these better teams. So, and again, I hate to admit it, but my honorable mention is Logan Paul. He's taken to wrestling like a fish to water, right?
Absolutely.
And it's probably only my lack of seeing him because he's not working a full schedule,
He works the bigger shows, right?
So otherwise, he might win it. But for FNS, I think this pretty clearly goes to the Guns this year. We've gone from wanting them to go away in ring.
I think we praised them most of this year. That's
like
true.
there was nothing redeeming, and now we enjoy them as part of what I would consider them like an old school faction because they kind of feel DX's.
I love Bullet Club Gold.
I say that all the time to you. The good version of DX. And now they're pretty good in the ring. And I think worth noting, right, their finisher is believable and a little bit over.
Cool, yeah.
So I think that's great for them. They fit perfectly in Bullet Club Gold. And they're sort of emblematic of something I love about wrestling. And that's like, you start to enjoy acts and things that you previously didn't.
Which is something we could also say to Christian.
Right, for whatever reason, whether they get better or it's a character tweak or it's the writing's better for them, that's the best. Is
Absolutely.
when because we've 180'd on these guys, basically.
It's
right?
a genuine, just like I enjoy them now.
Yes, and I love when that happens. So it's the Guns. I'm not even ashamed to say it this year. Happy for
they
them.
deserve it because we used to hate them.
We did.
So as I mentioned, I think we picked the Acclaim last year, and then also for the next one.
Oh yes, breakout performer of the year.
Like I said, it was lumped in with most improved, so we picked the Acclaim last year, which I think they kind of fit for both.
They would. For sure.
So this year nominees are Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, LA Knight, Swerve Strickland, and Lyra Valkyria.
Yes.
I want to give a big honorable mention to Takeshita once again, which I think we did that last year as well. But because he really impressed me last year, and I think this year with his association with Don Callis, he really did break out.
If we're being honest, we both wanted him to win this.
I really
badly.
wanted him to win this.
Like we would, if the calculus somehow moved the calculus to me, but he just didn't.
I would
quite
love
work
to
this
give him
year.
this. So
he was on pace, maybe.
He is, and we said that last year too.
Right.
But he really feels on pace this year because he got big victories and a great win over Omega.
I feel like it's just the tournament came and. Because he wasn't in the tournament.
If he was in the tournament,
kind of backburner.
I really wish he was in the tournament, honestly, because he didn't have to win, but like would have been great. His momentum slowed towards the end of the year, so I hope 2024 is the year we see some gold on him. Also, honorable mention to Kyle Fletcher for showing potential in solo bangers and getting a solo title in Mark Davis' absence. Like he didn't let that slow him down. He's proven that he could have a Shawn Michaels kind of deal once Aussie Open splits. Yeah. And obviously not on the level, but like he won't be the Genetti.
I think he's the breakout front runner for next year for me.
Yeah. Him or Takeshita.
Depending,
honestly.
if he stays a single especially. Not that I even necessarily want that to happen because I love Aussie Open.
Yeah.
But
either or.
Yeah.
The man who stole this award from Takeshita and ran away with it has to be Swerve Strickland. But also, I forgot, honorable mention to LA Knight because he truly broke out on the main roster. And that has to be commended.
Agree.
But yeah, Swerve ran away with this for me. A guy we've enjoyed a lot since the Hit Row days, but he only began to hit it big this year. He started the year with that crummy mogul affiliates thing that really, I thought, hindered his momentum. If he had stayed in that, he would not be here.
Oh, no chance.
But I'm 100% happy to say it was but a bump in the road. The Mogul Embassy was an incredibly random pairing, and honestly, we kind of crapped on it first because it was really weird that he just struck a deal with Nana. Now he's with the Embassy. At first, it was just like I was like, it's random, but at least it's better than Parker and Trench. But now I think it's really turned out great in the long run, especially having Nana with him, as we mentioned already. Mm-hmm. Swerve has always been great in the ring, but he really showed it this year against the likes of Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Danielson. He had a big coffin match at Wembley and a career-defining rivalry with Hangman. The Wrestle Dream match was really good, but felt kind of off. That death match was on a completely different level. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite matches ever. Something that genuinely elevated him. That was like a career-defining match for sure. Just a star-making turn.
Yep.
And I think he's definitely arrived as main event worthy. I think this is when those rumblings became really fan base wide. Like
he's just undeniable.
Yeah, he's becoming undeniable with his supervillain like character and superb entrance. He's got all the tools now, and he broke out from where he was when the year started and where he was last year. At the time of writing, he's undefeated in the Continental Classic. Obviously not anymore. So here's hoping all this momentum carries into the W. Obviously not, but here's hoping that carries into a good 2024.
Yeah, like you said, in almost any other year, this would be hard for LA Knight not to win this.
Yep.
He was repackaged, right? He was up as, what was it? His original...
Max Dupree. Well, that was last year. He started off the year with the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. So
right.
Let's
and then,
not forget
so
that.
He sort of connected with the crowd, right? And
just
that connection was strong and made him, like, undeniable. They couldn't not push him sort of thing. But he comes
they didn't
second.
give him anything, though.
He comes second for me, too. Who went from really, really good to being just incredible this year, right? And that's the breakout. It depends what level. Swerve was already really good, but
he
now
was just always kind of stuck in the mid card. Right?
He's just broken through. He's an incredible supervillain. He had a bloody match of the year candidate. Probably the most popular guy in that company right now with the reactions he's getting. He's an undeniable superstar, and not the way WWE uses the term superstar, actually a superstar.
Yes.
And he deserves to hold the main title and be the face of this company, I think. Absolutely. For me, that match needs to happen I'm saying within the first 3 months of this year, he needs to be a champion.
For sure.
And because he can't get much hotter than this, right? And heat like this doesn't last forever. I wish it would, but it won't. So you got to sort of strike at some point,
Absolutely.
right? His entire presentation is just about perfect for me. And despite the evil stuff he does, people love him and want to see every second of everything he
cool
does.
And charisma.
Love Swerve, and it's his award. He's the breakout star for me.
He took it completely.
Next, we move into, this one was tough for me, best feud of 2023.
So this will be the first one where we differed last year, which I took Death Triangle versus the Elite, the best of 7 series I started. Partially because that was really awesome, and partially because I didn't want to pick Punk. And because Punk's feud started in 2021, but you took Punk and MJF with the dog collar match and whatnot. This year's nominees include...
I forgot that I took that.
Yeah. Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club with all that faction war shenanigans. MJF versus Danielson with that and the lead up in the Iron Man match. Hangman versus Swerve, which was the late candidate of this year, I would say.
It was.
Similar thing for Mello versus Dragunov, but that started earlier, but that was here too. The NXT getting in there a little. And then Omega versus Callis and Co.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to Omega versus Callis for the Takeshita wins. And some good multi-mans in there, and then Swerve Hangman for that death match, if nothing else. But the feud wasn't as long as the one I picked. The front runner, in my opinion, was always Elite versus Blackpool, a feud that stemmed from a feud, I guess, because Omega and Callis is like... Oh, wait, did it? No, this one kind of... Oh, wait, as was Omega and Callis, because Omega and Callis came from this. This came from Mox Hangman, which started last year. So I'm kind of lumping in Hangman Moxley, but it's all kind of one for me.
Yeah.
That feud was already really good because remember the concussion angle with Hangman.
Yep.
I think the way Moxley was walking line between heel and face for a while after Hangman came back was really great. This also kicked off the bully heel era of Blackpool, which was honestly probably my favorite run for them because they were just really great with that, dismantling the Dark Order a few weeks, so then Hangman had no allies. The slow burn to him having to reunite with the Elite I thought was really great and paid off an older storyline for me, which I really enjoy because the 2021 Hangman vs. Elite storyline or feud was one of the best in company history and one of my favorite things I've watched. And so to have that kind of callback and kind of a payoff to that was awesome. And even Danielson coming back after the MJF feud and then turning heel, that was really great. I was so excited to see the Elite back together, and so that was awesome. Just with all the previous stories, it felt like it leaned into older AEW things, which I really liked.
You do.
And a lot of great matches in this one. The Anarchy in the Arena was really fun. Remember, there was the Multi-Man Forbidden Door we really liked.
Yep.
Blood and Guts was probably my favorite one of those to date. And I almost didn't want this to end. Unlike the boring and never-ending jazz feuds of yesteryear, this was a faction feud to remember.
Yep.
There's just so many things to love about this, so this is my favorite feud of the year for sure.
And I noted here that we're obviously light on WWE storyline nominations, but we don't follow the product enough to
other than Mellow Dragunov, because those matches were really strong.
And I watch all of that, right?
So, and you watch that.
This year's weird. Excuse me. I didn't feel super strongly about this category, and I think it's a bit of a sign that it's a bit of a down year for AEW, for sure, because that's the company we watch by far the most, right? Yeah. And to be honest, this is the one I mentioned earlier, where I read your reasoning on this document, and you made a really good case for the Bullet Club Elite, because I obviously forget. Sorry, Blackpool.
It's the
BCC in my notes.
It's the acronyms.
I obviously forget a lot of the details, so once you laid it all out like that, I'm like, I can't think of anything else that was better than that, or
there's some good ones
that,
this year for sure,
and created good matches, right? So I agree with you, and I took the Blackpool Combat Club Elite.
And I think one thing is a faction feud is also a little trickier because there's so many more elements going on, so I think that they did it really well.
So many combinations,
especially because the one with Jazz or Inner Circle in previous times, like Jazz in America Top Team or Jazz, like Inner Circle Pinnacles, like there's just always something missing there. I thought this one was just really well done, though. Just the way it was awesome.
It was. Next, we have best storyline of the year. What did we pick last year?
Same as in the Bloodline.
So main roster got love. That was like an undeniable story, right?
It's kind of like Swerve and Break It. It was the clear winner.
Which now I hear all the stuff I read and listen to, people I trust, they're kind of down on the whole Bloodline story.
Now it's not really much of a factor, but when I think post-Mania, and it was a summer, because July was when you had the Bloodline Civil War, and there's the Uso Reigns match at SummerSlam. It's definitely fallen off.
Boy, was it hot last year, though.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't ignore it.
Even early this year. I think last year to early this year was when
I was going out of my way to watch the segments and
stuff.
That's crazy.
So storylines this year was OC's international title reign. That was genuinely just a highlight because that just made me love Orange Cassidy.
It was awesome. The original club?
Oh wait. Oh, the original. Oh wow. I was okay. I got it. That's
you trolling me by putting Gallows and Anderson in here.
MJF and Adam Cole, the bromance of the summer, so to speak. The early Bloodline saga gets a nomination because it still had a good run. This year it was just short-lived, of course. Bryan Danielson's championship gauntlet and Gunther's title reign. You wanted to mention, so I'll give an honorable mention to the C2 because there was a lot of storylines in there.
I wanted it mentioned somewhere, right? Because it was.
I would say we didn't write it down, but maybe one of our nominees could be Eddie's Continental Classic run because
that's true.
His was definitely a storyline, so I'll shout that out for sure.
And we love the Continental Classic.
Continental Classic was genuinely something that elevated television.
It was a highlight of 2023.
It'll come up later, I think.
Yeah.
This is a really tough one for me because the first two things that came to my first category are two that are front running for me. I think it's got to be between Better Than You, Baby and Orange Cassidy. They're both super different, great for different reasons, and I love them both dearly. And at the beginning of the year, if you had told me I would love both of these or both these would happen, I don't think I believe it because Orange Cassidy, like, we were disappointed first when he won it because we were there when he won the title from Pac, and we were like,
because I love Pac.
Yeah, exactly. We love Pac, but I think in the long run, it was genuinely a good move.
Oh, fantastic.
It took a bit to get going, but once it got going, man, his title run was the best thing on TV. It was honestly like the C2. It was something to look forward to every week.
Every Wednesday, there was something, a good match coming.
The Cole MJF saga was the best thing of the summer. AEW's answer to the Bloodline anyways. When the Bloodline dropped the ball, they picked it up. But I think there were times where the story lost steam. I think just Cole's injury really cut it at the knees, and that's not their fault.
No, it's not.
But that's just what happened. And
changed everything.
So it's less in the forefront with all that MJF is dealing with. Obviously, he's got a bunch of other stuff now, and I think with the Devil, hopefully it picks up, but we'll see. So on the other hand, Cassie's title run started out normal, but evolved over time, became a great little story of his own. The constant thing of him being a fighting champion, racking up these injuries, but having great matches every week and eking out victories was so awesome. And it became towards the end where like with Moxley Cassidy evolved and the title became something he really cared about, and his title run became something I really cared about as well. Like I ended up being disappointed when he lost to Moxley, who's probably my favorite of all time.
Right.
And like I was actively rooting against Moxley, and him never caring about anything and becoming this title becoming the one thing he really cared about was just perfect storytelling. I remember the promo he had right before All Out was really good. I think it's a really close one that could go either way. But there were some iffy segments of Cole and MJF, right? Remember, there were some that weren't like as good, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of left hanging. So I'm gonna pick Orange Cassidy because it's so rare that the title change actually makes me sad, and I wholeheartedly rooted against Mox. So hats off to Orange Cassidy because he genuinely deserves this.
He does. And I'm thrilled with Gunther's title run. I'm gonna mention that.
I think Cassidy outshone him though.
I do too, but I think Gunther has elevated that title, and I'm just thrilled to see an NXT call up actually presented well, although maybe Walter's one of those undeniable talents, right?
I would hope so.
I decided to send the award somewhere else, and I was a bit surprised by this too, but I was most captivated by the Orange Cassidy story and his reign as the champion like you.
I think even for you, because you were definitely more down on him.
I'm not a huge Cassidy fan, you know, but the story told with the injuries piling up and insisting on taking difficult matches week after week and always delivering really good matches, put it over the top. And we at this podcast wanted that story to go on indefinitely.
If he continued one title run to now instead of being two-time champion, I would not complain.
Right. And there's no doubt that run elevated the heck out of what could have been a joke of a title, right?
Right. So, I think whereas the flip-flopping changes early in this year hurt the TNT title, Orange Cassidy helped this title.
Just like Gunther helped the Intercontinental.
Absolutely.
So if you would have told me at the start of 2023 that I'd be giving this award to Orange Cassidy, I would have given you great odds and confidently bet with you on that because I didn't think that was possible. But it was a captivating story for us. Next award.
Speaking of captivating stories.
Yeah, we get biggest wrestling story, but in real life.
So like news stories.
Shoot stories, brother.
We're shooting here.
Yep.
Last year, it was Vince McMahon retiring for both of us because that still one of the craziest things to happen.
And
obviously, it kind of
unhappened.
Yeah, but
and
at the time, that was genuinely one of the crazy. 5 days before my birthday, too.
Right.
That was one of the craziest things.
We were so happy.
That was the best early birthday present I've gotten in my entire life. Nominations for this year were the unfortunate death of Bray Wyatt, WWE's TKO merger with UFC, CM Punk getting fired from AEW, which, I mean, last year he got close with the Brawl In.
Right.
So AEW All In, just the announcement of that was crazy. The announcement that AEW Canada tour and Forbidden Door for us.
For us, selfishly, yeah.
A big one. The Collision announcement and the Japanese Federation's
recently forming like a super pact or something. Yeah.
This was a hard one to narrow down because it was a big year. Like the past couple years for wrestling, there's been some crazy stuff.
There has.
Two front runners for me are the death of Bray Wyatt and the firing of CM Punk. One brings me much sadness, and one brings me extreme joy. CM Punk firing was super surprising and a big deal. But one of the genuine, like, it's stupid, but it's one of the happiest moments of my life that I can remember. I was just overjoyed when I saw this at work. Like, I almost shed a tear. However, it was an inevitable event, I think, given the events of 2022 and the ongoing backstage issues with him this year is bound to happen. The same can't be said for Bray, though. He was out since, like, March because he was supposed to have a feud with Lashley and then it didn't happen. He started the year in a stretch with his feud with LA Knight in the highly questionable Pitch Black match.
Highly questionable is generous.
There was the false start of the feud with Lashley, and something was up, and for a while there were multiple different reports on what his deal was, and I had to say that what happened was unexpected. I think is an understatement. Because I don't think it was expected. No. His untimely death due to COVID complications. COVID complications was far from what anyone expected, coming from completely left field. It's still jarring looking back, and it's one of those things that doesn't feel entirely real. So I think it's definitely got to be that for me because I still miss the Fiend run. I miss when
you love the original
I think
Fiend.
that was something that really had potential. I'm really disappointed now more than ever that they dropped the ball because now he'll never get the chance to be what he could have been because he was never a ring general, but there was always potential in something. So I'm just really disappointed he died because him and Brody Lee, just that they are gone so soon is always disheartening for sure.
Technically, for me, I guess the biggest story should probably be the TKO merger, but I just don't care enough about the business side. But that is like a huge deal.
Obviously. It's something along the lines of the Vince thing. Right?
And the Wyatt passing was sudden and awful, but it kind of was out of the news cycle pretty quickly. You know what I mean? So for me, unfortunately, I don't love it, but it's the CM Punk stuff because all the stuff leading to his firing, with the content I consume, it was easily the event that got the most attention, wide range of opinions, and it still like doesn't really go away, right? It's still being talked about a little bit to this point. So I got tired of hearing about it, but that's probably another sign that it deserves this award. So that's the route I went with this one.
I guess one we could put it in was CM Punk's WWE return, but I don't know if that was a big story. It was more of a big moment.
And I'm probably even considering that a little bit when I give it to that because it's all of that. If he doesn't get fired there, he doesn't get hired there. It's just Punk in the news cycle, I guess, is the problem. Right. I would. Now we're moving into some of the larger ones. I feel like this is where it kind of takes
the more wrestling centric.
Yeah, ones, so this is where we talk about our best on the mic for 2023.
I think I called it Mike Man of the Year once.
You did.
That's good. Last year, MJF for both of us.
Pretty easily, right?
He's always going to be in this category.
I think as
he might not always win it, but he will always be.
Correct.
Here, I feel like.
I would agree with that.
Nominees are Samoa Joe. Happy to see him here.
Love that.
Of course.
Yeah, love that for him.
MJF, of course. Christian Cage. Let's do that too. Just he's a gem. He's a gem. Jay White, obviously, he's just super consistent for me.
And his style isn't for everyone. I hear people complain about him.
I
think
White's
he's
promos.
great.
And same for Moxley. He's always amazing. He's super consistent. You can count on him to be professional. You can count on him to build a feud.
He'll always make the other person look good.
Absolutely. Swerve Strickland, just that charisma, the cool he has. He's just awesome. He's really unique, so that really benefits him. Sami Zayn, when he gets a really good, passionate promo going,
he's so believable.
Some of his stuff is really good.
I just think he's a legit good actor. He is. KO.
Well, yeah, last year he proved that. Kevin Owens as well.
Yeah.
He's great. And I threw in, just based on the C2, Eddie Kingston, man. He is phenomenal.
If he got more time, he'd be
because his work in the C2, I absolutely loved him. So I would like to give him an honorable mention. I forgot to write it down, but just we talked about it on Dynamite and whatever, or in our Dynamite review this past week. He's just one of the best baby faces around. Super sympathetic.
I've said it before. You feel how he wants you to feel.
He gets the feels out easily.
That's like the biggest thing.
He's genuinely amazing. Yeah. Other honorable mentions go to Kevin Owens for always acting like a real human being would, and for some gem promos in WWE. Like I saved on Instagram the one promo where Imperium come out and he just starts freaking out because they didn't mention their names. So he's like, "Why are you coming out here?" And it's just stuff like that I love because Kevin Owens just like
he's funny. He's a naturally funny person.
He would fit in AEW just the way he's funny and smart. He has consistency.
Quick. Yes.
Right? So there's that.
Yep.
And then also Switchblade and Mox, like I said, they have amazing consistency and I can always count on them for a good promo. And Swerve deserves love too. But more praise to Christian goes here, as he is to take this one for sure. This man has actually saved a few segments for me this year. There have been ones with like Sting or whatever, or like the Sting of Ric Flair, and then he comes out and we're just like, yes.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
And every time he's on TV with a mic, it's something to pay attention to. It's something to enjoy. It's something to laugh at. His mic work this year has elevated him tenfold, and my feelings on him have completely turned around, much like on the Guns. He's been so fantastic. The audacity he has to say the things he says is incredible and never fails to get a reaction from both of us. Every promo, there's something to laugh at, and he made me feel a lot of sympathy for Luchasaurus in one segment alone.
Right.
That is commendable as well, because I've always loved Luchasaurus, but just I genuinely felt bad for him, you know? That was awesome. His current work is some of, if not the best of his career. I think it's a prime example of someone genuinely breathing new life into their career. So he has done some great work this year.
He has.
And I might have given him this last year, but last year he had turned heel, and so babyface Christian, hell no, but this Christian is something to watch.
Yeah. Similar to what you're saying, from what I hear and the people I read and listen to, Kevin Owens they talk about like he saves every segment that
Kevin
he's in,
Owens
basically.
is always awesome. He can always be counted on.
So he gets love from me here. But if you listen to our show regularly, you probably know exactly who we're both choosing, and it is Christian. And to be honest, it's not really close, right? Like, I talk about this with actors and stuff in roles in movies and TV shows. Some roles are just like they must be so fun to play, right?
I would love to be Christian.
Okay, Christian, your gimmick is you get to say awful, hurtful, horrible things about everybody you talk to.
And everyone's dead parents, like Nick Wayne's mom, Ric Flair.
Just the venom that he is allowed to spew this year has been can't miss TV for us, right?
He's one of the funniest guys around.
Most consistently entertaining things in all of wrestling. And just like I'm super happy to have our opinions change about the Guns, I'm thrilled about this too.
Christian's one of my favorite things on television now.
When he arrived.
If he went away now, I would sorely miss him.
So I think he's head and shoulders above everybody this year, and there's some strong competitors in this category, but he's best on the mic for this year. All right, next we have looking at best character of 2023.
Last year, we both picked Sami Zayn. I think his work was, again, we said it already, he was phenomenal last year.
More main roster love last year.
Yeah, Sami Zayn, again, undeniable.
Yeah, I went out of my way to watch those segments.
And he would be a good actor. If he could play a role like Sami Zayn in a movie, I would say put him in there.
He was great.
Nominees this year were Orange Cassidy. We already mentioned his title run. He was fantastic this year. MJF for doing, while it hasn't been perfect in recent times, his babyface run's been really good for someone who's an amazing heel.
You're right.
I think the fact that he's done as well as he has in the opposite role, he's got to get some commendations for that. Christian Cage, we already mentioned his character work is crazy. Jon Moxley, he's just heel or face. He feels real, and he's always super enjoyable on the mic. He's just something about him is
consistent company guy.
Yeah,
always going to be good to amazing. It's never going to.
He always feels really logical, which I think is important for us. Swerve Strickland, obviously, his supervillain shtick is top notch. Sami Zayn still gets a nomination here because his work is still really good. A really great babyface, and then also again, based on the C2 work and his big wins against all the Blackpool guys, Eddie Kingston's character work. I used to like him as a heel, but I think his real calling has been as a babyface.
Yes,
he's
the sympathy he gets
so great, and I really am looking forward to seeing his Triple Crown run this year because I feel like it'll be really
He really came down on the home stretch of 2023, right?
Absolutely.
He really kicked it into gear. Saved a kick for the end.
A feather in the cap of the C2 was really elevating Eddie even more. I just love Edward. I feel like we have a lot of close decisions this year, at least I do. I guess that's telling about how this year was. I'm torn between Christian and Swerve, both incredible heels at their peaks, but yet they're really different.
They are.
And honestly, again, late, I would probably honorable mention Eddie, because Eddie's just a gem. I think Christian wins this one, though, because he's perfected his character throughout the whole year. I've said it before, I feel like Swerve, he didn't start this year in a great position. He had to really work his way out. And that's why the breakout fits him so perfectly, right? But I feel like Christian's character, whereas last year he kind of started cultivating his heel work, this year it's just been full heel Christian all the way, and it's been amazing. I think throughout this year, he's gone from great to amazing. His disregard for any morals or shame, attacking anyone's dead relatives, or insulting someone like Ric Flair without any regard is never anything but hilarious. I enjoy Christian every time, and not only his disregard for anyone, but now this not even, I don't know if it's kind of a god complex, but it's this Father of the Year thing he's got with Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus is funny. The thing he did before he became TNT champion for real with Luchasaurus was super funny. And then once he got Nick Wayne in his thing, treating him like his genuine son is one of the funniest things he does. I enjoy him every time he's on screen. Like we said, he legitimately saved segments from sucking completely. He was amazing parading around as TNT champion with Luchasaurus. Even better when he found a sneaky way to get the title for real. Like I said, adding Nick Wayne to his posse was a masterstroke. Even adding Shayna Wayne is also a funny thing.
Mother Wayne,
right? The parallel between Christian now and when he debuted in AEW is absolutely crazy. His character is so great. He's surpassed Edge completely in modern day.
Oh yeah,
it feels like he's in his prime, even though he's 50.
I know that's
crazy.
Wild. Yep. I went a different route, which is always nice because we agree on a lot of stuff because we are related and we watch all this stuff together. Sami Zayn is believable as they come. We've talked about it. Christian, incredible year. That was my near miss, but my winner is no surprise. It's Swerve.
That is fair, because that was the other one I would have picked.
Swerve snagging yet another award for me here with his incredible work in 2023. He's like a comic book supervillain, but it's so cool, and I'm not a comic book fan by any means, and it still appeals to me, right? He just connects with people. He's had multiple really good interactions. The one with Hangman in late November, was amazing. Among other wrestlers he's had interactions with, incredible pre-recorded segments. Already got our segment Vignette of the Year, right? And he conveys his character, even just the super slow walk
and his
to
entrance
the ring.
Is definitely there.
It works. The way he moves in the ring, which is unique, I think, to anybody I see.
Absolutely.
He's the complete package, and he seems to consider every little detail, right? He's a super intelligent, thoughtful guy, and all of it is just a super convincing character for me. It's one I will always remember. Like you'll be like, remember 2023 Swerve, and I'll be like, oh my god,
that's one of the ones that'll take it back. Good. Sure.
I think he's that good. He's a special memory for me. Swerve in 2023. He gets it.
Good pick.
All right, now one that's pretty easy should go quickly. I think it's best weekly TV show for us.
Gee, I wonder. Last year it was Dynamite for us.
Surprise!
I mean, this year we do have a new nomination in Collision because that was
we did not watch.
We didn't watch a lot of it, but it had some really good moments, so I put it in here.
Yep.
So Collision gets in here, Dynamite, NXT, and Impact Wrestling,
which I watch all of. You watch some of.
That same could be said for NXT, more so NXT for sure.
Yeah.
While it wasn't a banner year, the no-brainer pick for me is still Dynamite. It's the only one that I watch consistently through the highs and lows. It still remains my favorite on the whole.
Yep.
Collision Star this year had some really great matches and segments and shows, but it was never as good as Dynamite, and I never watched consistently. I can't do it. Maybe I'll try, but that's always a maybe. Additionally, the Continental Classic was a really strong end to the Dynamite year, and it was something that really helped the show. I think if it wasn't going to get the pick, it helped it, but I think it always was going to, because again, it's the only one I watch. I only ever catch bits of NXT, which is incredibly mixed bag, and Impact is never really great for me. Neither are consistently good enough to make me want to watch every week. So Dynamite's the clear pick for me, always has been.
Yeah, welcome to Collision. I don't know how long it's going to last, to be honest. I went back and watched most of the tournament matches.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch a lot of Collision. But it's AE Dynamite, no contest.
Oh, you did it.
I did it.
You just did it.
Caught on video, too.
AEW. The first time you mentioned that on this year. That's the first time you say it in 2024.
That's right.
You did it.
So my hope to eliminate it in 2024 is out of the way.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Day one.
Yeah.
Not a peak year for Dynamite, I don't think. I had a handful of low grades when we did every week, right?
Definitely. There were some periods where it would be like a couple weeks of really good, and then it would kind of go down, and then it's like back up.
But bottom line, still by far the easiest show to watch every week. Of the three, I watched 3 shows every week.
Right. I think it means more for you because you're consistently watching most of them, right?
And regardless, even if the weeks before was not great, I'm still looking forward to watching it every week, right? So that's
ever hopeful for sure.
NXT, I'm kind of indifferent about watching it. I don't dread it, but I'm just kind of. And then in Impact,
When I'm hearing you talking about NXT, it seems really inconsistent. Because there's some weeks there's like. But rarely is it better than Dynamite. I think there's it's not like it's never happened. I think this year's there's definitely been a couple times, but it's not ever super consistent.
There's been some great matches on NXT this year, but it's not the majority of the content, right?
Absolutely. Some of the storylines are just
Impact. I think it's telling that when, like recently, I haven't had to review Impact, and I'm happy about that, right?
So that's definitely something.
That's pretty telling. I think
maybe it shouldn't have been in the best.
So this was an easy category. It's Dynamite again. All right, now this was a little bit harder.
Absolutely.
And that is our best pay-per-view of 2023. 3.
Or PLE.
I just saw what we picked last year. I didn't remember that.
Full Gear 2022, which was
Tell me.
The first.
I couldn't tell you one match right now. Not one.
Luchasaurus Jack Perry cage match. You like that a lot?
Yeah, I did actually.
MJF Moxley.
Yeah.
The first Elite Death Triangle match, which we really liked.
Right.
I don't remember what's actually. I'll Google it really quick, just because I do want to kind of go over it really quick, because I remember those matches were like the trios match is really cool. Remember the Death Triangle actually won and we were surprised.
Oh, that's right.
And it kicked off the Okay, that's pre-show. Let's see. Joe Wardlow Hobbs, that's all right.
I like that better than you did.
Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory.
Right.
That's pretty good. Jericho. Oh, that was the 4-way with Jericho, Danielson, Claudio, and Guevara for the ROH show. That was pretty good.
Yep.
Oh my God, Jade Cargill was on this show. That's just
wow.
Forgot about that. Was a really good show. I remember. But our nominations for this year are Forbidden Door, half bias, half because it was a really good show.
Really good show. We happened to be in attendance.
I've had a match or two that I really love.
Yep.
WrestleMania 39, which deserves huge.
Yep.
Huge
credit
props.
when credit is due for
well, because we hated WrestleMania last year. 38 was horrible,
awful.
But this year was different. Wrestle Dream was really strong, and Full Gear makes it back on the list.
Was our thing with Mania this year that it was fewer celebrities, like less celebrity involvement?
That's usually just a pickup from this year. So huge honorable mention to Mania 39.
Yeah,
it was a giant pickup from last year's stinker. It was actually really enjoyable. Some match of the year contenders. Like I'll look it up right now just for your sake. Just because it was a really good WrestleMania. It was probably my favorite in recent memory.
We very much enjoyed, I think, both nights for the most part.
I think so. There was some things on, let's see.
And we have not enjoyed many.
Okay, so there was, what was it? That 4-way tag was pretty solid, even though it was meaningless. It was pretty solid. Rollins Logan Paul was pretty good.
Yep.
The mysterious matches was okay. The Ripley Flair was obviously a really strong women's match.
Yep.
And remember the tag team main event? That was one of my favorite matches of the year, especially for main roster. Owens and Zayn the Usos. That was a fantastic payoff to that. The next night there was Gunther Sheamus McIntyre, which was
amazing,
great
slugfest. That was a good match.
Yeah, Blair Oscar solid, and I think Roman and Cody was like a good Roman match at least, right? So it was just like I think it was down on the stuff we didn't like, and also Shane McMahon
snapping his
that was awesome. But yeah, so it was a really strong Mania. So just to show main roster love, it deserves to be here because it was a good Mania.
You do good work, we will recognize.
I want WrestleMania to be good because it's their big one, so it has to deliver, right?
I'm no shill for any company.
Exactly. Honorable mention to Wrestle Dream 2 because I think it would earn my third place.
That was my super close one as well.
This category is extremely tough to me because regardless of TV output, AEW always nails their pay-per-views.
They do.
Except for maybe World
we could talk about that maybe this week.
They have their odd mishap, but I would say 9 times out of 10 they nail the pay-per-views. Not a single one this year was bad. I wrote this before World's End. It wasn't bad actually.
It wasn't
not
bad.
a single one was bad. Okay, that's
below average for them.
Okay,
it doesn't mean bad.
A couple are neck and neck for the win here. My battle is between Forbidden Door, where we might have been there, and Full Gear, which we weren't there.
Nope,
for sure.
Definitely not.
They're super close for me. Revisiting the two Carlisle reinforces that sentiment. So here's your trip down memory lane, so to speak. I would like to give into bias and pick Forbidden Door. I think looking back, I kind of feel like Full Gear was the better show. Full Gear was great. Don't get me wrong. I love it a lot. Glad to have been there, and I'm super happy it came to Toronto. It's just that was crazy still. A few things hold it back though. The first 2 matches weren't really things I care for. MJF Tanahashi and Punk Kojima.
I know. It was kind of a slow build.
And then I remember Sonata, Jack Perry wasn't bad, but it was really underwhelming. It was underwhelming.
Right.
And the trios match after Omega Ospreay was just okay. The main event was strong, but it just fell short, and I think it might have been because of the other match. I think it was pretty short. I'm pretty sure it was like I saw it was like 15 minutes.
Well,
or something.
Danielson broke himself.
And Danielson broke his arm, so I'm not gonna fault that. Like I'm just looking at it really quick.
But following the
it was. Oh no, it was 27. Never mind. Sorry.
It
was good though. Yeah. So it just kind of gets hurt by that match. But my main positives from that match were. Oh, sorry. Wait. No. Okay. So. Then Full Gear on the other hand was the main downers were Mox Cassidy just being too short, not even being bad, just being too short. Good for what it was. Meteor women's match, also a good one later. Golden Jets match wasn't interesting, but it was a strong match. It was kind of had the same effect as Okada Danielson, but less so. Then my main positives from Forbidden Door were that 4-way Cassidy match was awesome. The multi-man match was really fun. And my legitimate favorite match of all time. I don't know if I've mentioned that one. That one's just
probably mine as well.
Full Gear, the positives. TBS title match that exceeded expectations to my surprise, a crazy fun ladder match, the craziest match I've ever seen in my entire life, almost match of the year, and a much stronger main event. In my opinion, Switchblade MJF was built great. I thought delivered. I don't know why people hate it so much, but
I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars.
I'm going to pick Full Gear by a hair. It's extremely close, but Full Gear gets 2 back-to-back for me.
I think that's fair. Again, really happy to say that Mania was awesome this year, right? Love to say that. Love for all companies to produce quality content. I'm not looking for anyone to suffer or shut their doors. I want all good wrestling everywhere.
I'm hopeful for Mania this year, I guess.
And again, a little bit of a down year for AEW, but as you said, their pay-per-views deliver. Up until... I don't know if there's been one where I've been like, man, I paid for that, because I do pay for all of them, right?
I think maybe All Out 2020, because that was the one where Matt Hardy got concussed.
I remember there was one I didn't love.
It might have been that one.
So it was down to Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, Forbidden Door, all the nominees, basically. So I went back through my notes and reviews on each show, and I settled on Full Gear like you did, and really not by much.
It's super close. It really is.
Instant classic death match you mentioned. Really good women's triple threat that surprised us.
Yeah, given the talent involved, I was like happy with that.
Awesome tag match and a really good main event. But let's be honest, it's mostly the death match. That just elevates.
Honestly, if Forbidden Door had a couple, or even one more match that was really good, it would get that, because it has my favorite.
But top to bottom, I agree. Full Gear was my pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, I think I just went the long route of saying what he said.
That's why I like it. You do the details, and I
can't help
quickly agree with you generally, and I'm sure I'm going to agree with you on this category
I don't think
too.
so. I feel like we'll differ. They're going to pick Impact.
Best promotion. Why is it Impact?
I don't know. Last we both picked AEW, and the only options really are AEW, WWE/NXT, but
we'll lump them together.
And Impact Wrestling. I think WWE had a really strong year. While not everything we love, it's just like they felt like they went from strength to strength this year, just like financially, just like some of their shows. They really went international this year, which I think was a really strong thing. And they had more matches that I enjoyed this year. I feel like last year, like one of my favorite matches was that Rumble match with Rollins and Reigns, and then what else was there?
We love that match.
I will always love that match. One of my biggest missed opportunities to this day. But anyways, though I don't think this was good of a year for them to say 2021 or something, which is a banner year, I think.
Right.
I think AEW still continues to be my favorite promotion, and on the whole, it's the alternative I want. It still is. Maybe a little less so, but it still is. Things like the Texas Death matches we got this year, especially the one, but there was Moxley Hangman too, let's not forget. And the Continental Classic were some of the year's highlights, and things WWE wouldn't and don't do that were generally some of my favorite things of the year. They pulled off one of, if not the biggest show in pro wrestling history. All In was a special moment. It finally felt like we had something to genuinely rival WrestleMania, at least on the scale, right? At least a little, right? They gave me one of my favorite life experiences ever at Forbidden Door, my favorite match ever on the same night. They acquired free agents I'm a huge fan of, like Switchblade and Ospreay, which those signings I can't understate. Like, those are important to me because I love both of those guys, and I'm happy. Like, now I'll get to see them regularly, because my thing with them was always, I love them, but they're New Japan.
It's like they literally said, hey, Jack, which free agents do you want?
Oh, those two? Okay, yeah. I didn't dislike a single pay-per-view they had. Again, I wrote this before, but again, I don't know.
Dislike strong. Disappointed,
Agreed.
yes.
Yeah, there's the word. Even with the increased number of pay-per-views, they generally deliver for me. I'm still not overly keen on more, but as long as they keep it up, I can deal with it. I could go on more why AEW is the best, but it's pretty simple. They just have good stories, and also the pro wrestling I like to see. Matches are a huge thing.
It's that style, right? That is the big thing for us. We want to see the more faster paced, whatever, if you want to say spot fest or
more
approaching that.
Sometimes spot fest, sometimes.
And just a range of different types of matches, right? So, similar to best weekly TV show, this has to be AEW, the best weekly show, most consistently entertaining pay-per-views. Those are the criteria, right?
Yeah.
So
we do the things we want to see.
Nobody that listens to us regularly will be surprised by this choice, so I won't spend much time on it, right? It's AEW by a long shot.
Absolutely.
All right, now we get into a fun one for us, and that's best TV match.
I always like this because there's really good TV matches, but then like they get lost in the shuffle with the pay-per-view ones, right?
And I forgot
I also forgot we picked this. We both picked that hour-long match between Bayley and Alexander from last year.
That's a good choice.
So that's really good. Yeah, that I like that because that was a weird pick even for me, but that's one of the ones I sought out. Right?
Yes.
So there's that. All right. TV matches nominations. We got Omega versus Vikingo from Dynamite on what would that be, March 22nd.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cassie Fletcher from Dynamite May 24th. I remember really that was one of the ones where I already really loved Aussie Open. That's one of the ones where I saw Fletcher. I'm like, that was awesome.
Just that dynamic of he has such cool offense, and you can hit all of it on Cassidy.
I still remember he just burst in with that corner kick and brainbuster right off the bat, and that was awesome to me. Dario versus Swerve from July 26th. That was a really great match. That was the one with that. I think it was the house call to stairs. That looks awesome.
Oh yeah, that looked
go
crazy.
back and look at that clip to this day. Bullet Club Gold versus FTR from Collision, July 15th. The 2 3 Falls match was fantastic. One of the best tag team matches of all time. Samoa Joe Darby Allin from February 2nd. I think that was the No Holds Barred one. That was really strong. King of TV Joe is sorely missed. Honestly, could have been an honorable mention for character because it was just too short-lived, I think. Mello Dragunov from Halloween Havoc.
Awesome.
And Cole MJF from... Was that June 14th, their first match? Because that was we were saying that could have been pay-per-view quality. That was
a great match.
The time limit,
yeah.
Honorable mentions to Cole and JF, Swerve Darby, and Fletcher Cassidy for me. This category was always going to go to Bullet Club Gold FTR for me, specifically the 2 3 Falls one.
Yeah,
the near hour-long classic that would have fit on any pay-per-view they could have put it on. The pace was slow but masterfully worked, and it was great how Juice and Switch were kind of fighting from beneath at first when they stole the first fall, the perfectly placed bit on. I thought the way they paced the falls was perfect. I remember White just looked exhausted at the end stages, but like in that perfect way that he does, appropriately so, like he kind of does in the C2. He's foaming from the mouth. It was like a longer, more drawn-out version of the Revival DIY. The 2 3 Falls matches are so good sometimes. It would probably have been my front runner if Forbidden Door and later the Texas Death hadn't happened. Everything on TV, the stands 10 shows above the rest. And it's the thing I remember from Collision this year. This match was fantastic.
It was. And this one was easy for me, and it is Bullet Club Gold and FTR on Collision. Probably could have main evented almost any pay-per-view if you had a proper build and story to it.
It would be crazy.
Right? And just a shining example of how good tag team wrestling can be. It's one of my favorite forms of wrestling. I love tag team wrestling.
To me, Switch and Juice aren't even a regular team, but I thought they were great here, too. FTR are always superb.
Absolutely love this match. I actually think like it holds up pretty well against some of our nominees for best match overall.
I feel like it might be in best tag even. I think it is.
Fantastic match. If you didn't see it, go back and find it. It's honestly worth.
I would watch it again, honestly. I think I tried to. I don't think I ended up doing it, but like, it's super good.
Do you like it? So moving into our next category.
I already know.
Did you see my response? What I put in my column for this one? Yeah. It's match of the year tag team, which does include trios matches.
Because there weren't that many this year,
and they're all technically tag teams, so we include them.
Last year we just had lumped in with men's matches. So I wrote in brackets WTF.
I don't know what we were doing there.
Like we both picked different. This will come up in the men's. We both picked different Briscoe FTR matches, and those are just in match of the year for men. So I guess we're just weird like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Nominees are.
It's evolving, It's getting more polished every year we do this.
Yeah. Nominees are Bullet Club Gold FTR, the same match I just mentioned. Escalera de la Muerte, Elite versus Death Triangle from Dynamite, January 11th. That was really fun. Usos versus Sami Zayn Owens from Mania Night 1.
Don't remember other than I liked it. Don't remember details.
That deserves huge props. Again, main roster. And I really enjoyed the match.
True.
It was a rare main roster storyline we were invested in, and it was a good payoff. It was. Whereas I think they dropped the ball with Roman's payoff. I think this was a good payoff for Zayn's bit with the Usos. Because they had such a good thing going there. And then Elite versus House of Black from Revolution. I really didn't want to double up on categories because I don't like to, but I think that Collision match has to pick it again. I almost wanted to pick Zayn and Owens versus Usos because main roster matches, when those get here, those deserve extra props.
But it wasn't the same level.
It just wasn't. No, it wasn't. I just when it comes down to it, I really love the Collision match more. Like I said, it was just perfectly worked. You wouldn't even know that Switch and Juice don't team on the regular because they were just great here. It felt high stakes and it felt like a pay-per-view match that could belong on any show of the year, especially as a main event if you wanted to. As if it hasn't been proven time and time again. This shows why tag team wrestling is so amazing, like you said. I would probably put it up as my second runner-up or like third place of the year, probably.
My notes say literally same as above because it's that match again. It was that was a pay-per-view quality match. I know I said it before, but you could put that on any card and I would watch it.
And it almost reached a time limit draw, but then it didn't, which was great.
Great match. Now we move into match of the year for women in 2023. And I would never have guessed our 2022 choice.
Mine was Sheeta Hater from Dynamite. I think it was the Christmas Bash or whatever, 12/28, which was December.
I would have guessed mine.
Yours was Masha Jordan from Impact Bound for Glory.
Love that match so much.
Our nominees from this year were a match I fell asleep for, not because it was bad, just because I was tired, which is Ripley versus Charlotte from Mania 91.
But you did go back and watch it recently.
I did. So it went back. Stylander versus Julia Hart versus Sky Blue from Full Gear, which was a pretty good match. It over-delivered. I think that's what really helps it get here.
That definitely helps it.
Given the talent involved, it shouldn't be here. Willow versus Athena, which is a match I didn't see.
Awesome.
From Death Before Dishonor, I think. And Lynch versus Stratton from
I think
No
the
Mercy.
first one. They had two, right? I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was the first one I liked better.
Really? It wasn't the Extreme Rules?
No, I think it was the
that
one
could have been a
before.
TV match then.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think the first one was on TV. Honorable mentions to Athena's work this year in the TV style three-way from Full Gear because it was better than I expected. One of the few strong women's matches, a really strong one, was Charlotte Ripley. Not a Charlotte guy, but she's capable in the ring without a doubt. Ripley proves that she can now hold her own for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike Mania 36, this one also had the right result as Ripley actually got her moment in WWE, actually capitalized on her at the right time.
Yes.
Surprisingly. Shame these two couldn't have had a main event for the women, because I always like when they do that, but
Me too.
I was very adamant that tag match deserved it, and
It did. Oh, yeah, you were
did.
fired up about that.
Yeah, I was almost...
That was the hill you were going to die on.
Yeah, I was almost going to be angry if this main event, which, I mean, it just sucks that that's how it had to go, but that's how it had to go. One thing with WWE is they generally keep their women's division at decent visibility. So this is the kind of big match isn't yet seen on AEW. I mean, hopefully all in, we get a big match. 'Cause I think Jamie Hayter being out kind of affected that. If Jamie Hayter had held the title, we could have gone a big singles match. Because I think the four-way that Saraya one was kind of
Yeah. Hayter should be back soon, hopefully.
I would hope
right?
so.
I really loved Willow versus Athena this year, and the triple threat at Full Gear over-delivered, but the quality of the match and the magnitude of the event puts Ripley and Charlotte over the top pretty easily for me. And again, you said it, I'm not a fan of Charlotte. And at the time of this match, I honestly wasn't sure about Ripley yet.
She's had some good ones, and she's also been like, I'm just there.
But yeah, I didn't know if she was capable of this or not. But they kind of tore the house down and had a match that I thought was an incredible match. Stole Night One Mania for me. Let this not only be a credit to WWE, but it's a bit of an indictment of AEW, right? That they don't really book their women's division very well, in our opinion. Very few women in AEW reach the level of profile necessary to have like one of these matches, right? Sure. So not the fault of the talent at all. There's lots of good talent there. It's the way they're being presented so far. It's creative's issue. So there, I got my AEW doesn't do good enough with women rant on our best of show. I squeezed it in there.
I was about to say it was an AEW list category, but it's not.
But Charlotte and Ripley win the match of the year for me, for women. And then we move into the same award, match of the year, but for the men.
One, because there's so many that you can choose from. Oh my God, there's so many. I can't.
Oh yeah, there's our tag team choices.
Yeah. It's,
nice.
It's strange. So last year I picked FTR Briscoe's 2, the 2 or 3 falls.
And then
match,
I was right
and picked
FTR Briscoe's 1.
Okay, that's not how we're doing this. No, neither of us picked the dog collar one though, which I feel like some people would pick, but just too much.
No,
too much. 2 or 3 falls.
1 is the right answer.
No, 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Don't make me get the sound effects out.
No, we're not. No, okay, nominations. There are quite a bit here, so strap in, folks. I guess like
even though you all know.
Even though you know where it's going.
Unless this is your first time here, you know what we're doing. But anyways, it's the process.
We're going to do it anyways.
You have to respect the process.
Yeah, there's a process here. We can't just skip it. It's a formality. All right, nominations. Ospreay versus Omega from Wrestle Kingdom. It's the first one.
Right. Awesome.
Which is the wrong answer. The first one's always the wrong answer. Just like FTR Briscoe's. Blackpool versus the Elite from Anarchy in the Arena from Double or Nothing. I think that's why we put this here, because it's not like a tag match. I mean, it could have been there, I guess. But like, I think that's why, because I think that's what you said to me, right?
Probably. I say so many wise things. It's hard to keep track.
Omega versus Takeshita from All Out. That was great. Happy he won clean. Ospreay versus Umino from, I think it was New Japan's Tag League event.
Awesome match.
New Japan match we went to seek out. So that and the first Omega Ospreay, I think that's indicative. Mello versus Dragunov, the first one from Great American Bash. Mello versus Dragunov, second one from No Mercy.
I don't know which one I like better.
I think I like the first one better, slightly. But they're both really great.
Cole
MJF from All In, the pay-per-view match they had, that was a really great part of their feud. One of the highlights. The 4 Pillars Forward from Double or Nothing. MJF Danielson's Iron Man match from Revolution. Danielson's Zack Sabre Jr. from
Love
Wrestle
that match
Dream.
so much.
Gunther Sheamus McIntyre from Mania 39.
Awesome.
Ospreay Bayley from Bound for Glory.
Awesome.
Swerve Hangman, the death match from Full Gear. And finally, the creme de la creme.
The Dark Horse.
Ospreay versus Omega 2 from Forbidden Door.
Go ahead.
So this one was pretty much a write-off from the second this match was over. Even since that match, there have been some amazing matches. I think the best phrase to sum up this category was "in any other year."
Mm-hmm.
Things like the 2-3 Falls match on Collision, Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr. and Miasco. It was amazing. I loved it so much. But then comes the phrase "in any other year." I think the match that embodies that phrase the most is the Texas Death match between Swerve and Hangman.
It gets done dirty by 2023.
Oh yeah, it deserves the highest honorable mention because it was one of the genuine craziest matches I've ever seen. I've been like, I was kind of slack-jawed during that at sometimes because that match was insane.
There were parts that were a lot to watch, but I loved all of it.
I love it. The feud was building up to that was perfect. The match was crazy. It only comes so close. That's because the match I picked for 2023's match of the year is not only the men's match of the year, it's the match of the year bar none, and it's probably
match of your life.
The best match I've ever seen. It's probably the favorite my favorite I've ever seen in my entire life, and by far the best I've seen in person.
Do they know we were there too?
Oh, we were there.
We were there.
If you've been here before, of course you know I'm talking about Omega Ospreay from Forbidden Door. After this match was said and done, it's all I was talking about. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. I love it dearly. I think I watched it at least 6 times since then. I've tried to watch it like every month. I think I'm at 3. I kept it in my brain permanently. That one spot in particular is awesome. The One Winged Angel spot was great. The Tiger Driver was great. That rope break was one of the best I've ever seen. It put Danielson and Okada to shame, which is a crazy thing to do. It honestly hurt that match. That's how good this was.
Impossible to follow.
Yeah. It's hard to find something I haven't already said about this match, but it's one of my favorite things I've ever seen, which I just said. And genuinely, this is one of those things where I'm like, why wasn't this a main event? Like, when people say that about like Taker,
you felt
Michaels,
that way going into it too.
Oh yeah, it always should have been the main event. There were callbacks to their first match at Wrestle Kingdom, which was also great. Ospreay played to the Toronto crowd really good. Some of the best in-ring action you'll ever see, including some absolutely crazy pitch perfect spots. And finally, a simple yet incredibly effective storyline weaved in. The final stretch, especially, which I know you said is perfect. One of the best things I've seen. Period. It was a match that sold me on this show alone. Like, I mean, the fact that AEW pay-per-view was coming to Toronto was already selling me, and then New Japan being there. But like, if you would confirm this match for any show in my general vicinity, I'm like, we have to be there.
It's this match, and then the rest are local talent. Fine.
I will go.
Yeah. I mean, we go to local talent anyways.
I will empty my savings.
Much. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to go as soon as this was announced without debate. I watched this match pretty much every month since, and it was the clear pick. I love this match with all my heart. It's my favorite of all time. It's absolutely crazy. I can't love it enough.
So mine will be shorter because you said it all. Great matches this year. Love the death match with Swerve and Hangman. It's one of those matches where
just like, once this is done, like, what can you do?
And Sabre Danielson was my other one I absolutely loved this year.
Any other year.
Yeah, any other year. But this was another incredible match, a 5-star match that I had the privilege
6-star match
of being in person there, and it was a spectacle. The story combined with the ability of both of them was amazing, and I'm of the opinion, as you said, that the final 5 to 7 minutes of this are like absolutely perfect.
I remember watching that rope break and being like so surprised because like it was perfectly done where it could have been. Like, because sometimes rope breaks are so telegraphed, and that one was really great off of, I think it was the Screwdriver, Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, and then the reaction in the arena when he kicked out the one with, or Omega kicked out the One Winged Angel is
electric in there.
I was always hoping Ospreay would kick out of it, but I guess it wasn't to be, but that's okay, because this was just amazing anyways.
So if you listen to our show, you know this was the match of the year.
I praise this match at any point I can.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's the disappointing thing is that now when we get to it, this match being a year old, that'll be crazy. Because
when we do our decade in review.
Hey, if we can, I will do that because this will be my match of the decade. Because it will take something really special to beat this.
The next one, which I think should have gone before this, because I feel like it's bigger.
I don't know why it was this. Maybe because tag team of the year's after, so I guess it kind of fits in.
But it's faction of the year, which is another new category this year.
I think it earns it. This is an all AEW one, all elite one. Some might say
because I can't really go Bloodline because I don't watch it, and
Metaphor's not
big enough yet, etc. Can't think of anything.
3 nominations are Blackpool Combat Club, a Bullet Club Gold, and the Elite. Oh, you didn't fill this one.
I don't even have anything in there.
Oh, no. What are you going to do?
That's all right. I'll figure it out right now.
All right. That's fair. Honorable mention, gotta go to Blackpool. Their heel turn run was awesome and resulted in that feud I absolutely love. Them just being bullies, absolute bullies, was awesome. However, elsewhere in AEW, another faction was having a great run that you might even call top shelf. I'm picking Bullet Club Gold because it's where I love and act so much from top to bottom. Every one of them's entertaining in their own right, and even the Guns, who we used to be on record as hating, like we said, I love them a lot. Switchblade is an undeniable main event talent who's amusing, but also serious when he has to be. And I've always loved him. Just he's one of those guys in New Japan where I just inherently like for some reason. Just something about him is great. Juice Robinson, I miss his absence, even though he's not like a big deal. I miss him. I love him dearly. He is so funny. He's one of those guys who's just funny looking. He's everything he does is funny. The Guns act massively improved when they joined this group. Even when I wasn't fully liking them, I knew they'd fit well. It's a shame they kind of ended 2023 on a down note with Switch and the C2 alone and Juice injured, but hoping next year is a top shelf year for Bang Bang Gang because they are just thoroughly entertaining.
They are. I'm going to take Blackpool Combat Club just for their sort of presence throughout the entire year, and
that's fair.
Just sort of the evolution that they had, and they have.
And their dynamic is super unique too.
And I was just going to say they have kind of storylines within their own group, like with how they treat Yuta and how they kind of go off and do their own thing for stretches.
I really like how they work. Yeah, they're the close one for me.
And when they're the heel vicious version, especially for Brian Danielson, that's my favorite version of that. So I'm hoping we come back to that. Absolutely. Just like. We just beat people up kind of group. Absolutely. But I think just as like a steadying, constant influence on the company, they are my faction of the year. Now we move into just slightly smaller groupings. This one wasn't easy this year for some reason. No, this one's
like, it's not even like it was hard, but it's just like there's no...
It's tag team of the year.
Yeah. 4 nominees this time, which we have.
And we both took FTR last year.
Yep, both took FTR.
Pretty easily.
To mention.
Right?
We have Usos, FTR, Aussie Open, and Young Bucks. Yeah, last year was the one where FTR ran away with it because they did so many things. The Briscoes feud, they had 3 titles.
Right.
All that stuff.
And nobody ran away with it this year.
No. Unlike, the last couple of years, I don't think there's a runaway pick here because 2021, the Bucks had a great heel run that we loved.
Right.
Last year, FTR had their run. But I think the front runner by a bit and the most logical pick, though, is FTR. I think Aussie Open getting in here kind of shows that there was lack of depth. Not that I don't love Aussie Open, it's just
we love them.
They had a good year, but if there were like more
injury
top teams,
stopped them as well.
Injury stopped them. Yeah, if there were more top teams, then I feel like Aussie Open would have gotten here more respectably, I guess is the word.
For the amount I see Aussie Open, I love their stuff. My enjoyment is highly concentrated with them.
I forgot they wrestled FTR on Wrestle Dream. That was a really good
that was good.
Zayn and Owens really just had the one great moment. I mean, in my opinion, like. They got WWE's best team, which I guess, but like they only had that one really great match, and their tag title run was kind of lackluster.
They care about tag teams so little there that it doesn't. Like I don't even. You know what I mean?
The Usos had some great work, but they didn't even last the year.
No,
which is weird. The Bucks were largely caught in faction warfare, but they still had some great moments. And Aussie Open, like you said, multiple injuries to Davis. FTR had solid and lengthy enough from the AEW belts. My favorite tag match of the year, one of the best of all time. A big match against the Bucks at All In as well. The main thing for me is they kind of had a lackluster end to the ring because they had a bunch of open challenges against lower tier teams like the Workhorsemen and
my favorite jobber team. How dare you?
And then they lost randomly to Big Bill and Ricky Starks, which is still weird.
Yeah.
FTR are the best again, though just not as wide of a margin as last year, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It was a tough pick this year. I love Aussie Open, but they didn't do quite enough. I don't watch enough of the Usos to comment. So it's almost like FTR by default because they had really good matches, right? We talked about our tag team match of the year, the match with Aussie Open. But it's like the stories and the feuds aren't super memorable, right? Like it's not like memorable feuds with Young Bucks or
memorable feud with Bullet Club Gold, but only for like a couple matches.
Right. And then the fact that they are Collision guys for us doesn't help either.
I feel like the tag division took a hit because they almost became Collision exclusive, which really irks me.
Because they're bros of Punk, so they became.
Yeah, even after though, even still now.
And so AEW has so much potential for an incredible tag team division, and I still hold out a lot of hope. I still don't feel like they've delivered that to us. And again, I love tag team wrestling.
I feel like they used to do more. Like again, 2021 being that banner year.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they get back to focusing on that.
Absolutely.
Even if it's on one of the shows, I'll probably find time to pay attention to it. But it's FTR, not by a lot, but they get it 2 years in a row from us.
To mention, I feel like if tag team, if even if the tag titles stay on Collision, if the division really starts building there, then it would be something I want to watch. Right now, it's like not only are the tag titles exclusive to the show I don't watch, but it's also just Starks and Bill just doing whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess we'll see.
So now it's time for the final two biggest awards, I guess you could say, and it is first we'll go with Female Wrestler of the Year.
Last year we both took Bianca Belair. I think she had a really strong year for me in roster. Some matches I really liked. So
yeah,
she had a bit of a downturn this year, but still good. She still gets in the nominations. So it's her, Rhea Ripley, Jamie Hayter, and Athena. Arnold mentioned Jamie Hayter, who got really good, but her injury took her out for too long this year.
And the crowd loved her. Like they demanded her basically, right? And she was really over.
So, so I'm really disappointed that her injury was as bad as it was because she still hasn't come back.
And they have not really updated or anything, so I think they're just planning for a sudden big return for her.
Stupid Thunder Rosa came back and not Jamie Hayter.
Yeah,
I really do want to pick Athena because I've heard great things about her work on ROH, and what I've seen from her has been pretty good.
Really,
but
she's good.
It's just that I've been hearing about it. I haven't.
Right.
She had a great match with Will, but I didn't watch that, and the one with Starks was probably good as well. But too much of work goes unnoticed period on ROH.
Yep.
I'm sure. I know she makes people want to watch that, but like even still, it's just for me, it's less. Oh, I'll watch ROH because of her. It's like I'll miss her because it's on ROH.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's kind of the opposite effect. If she graduates to Dynamite next year and keeps up her work, then it'll be different because at least she's getting recognized.
She's ready. She should be. They could use her. She's really strong heel.
Yeah. Or bring back Serena Deeb.
Yes. Bring back Deeb and Hayter and add Athena. Like you could really have a killer division. If you wanted to.
The potential's there for sure. And get Baker back on a roll as well.
Exactly.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Ripley this year. It kind of feels like the tag division where it's not a runaway.
I think it kind of is this year.
It is, but it's also not to me, just because I don't think she had a particularly I think she had a strong year by main roster standards, but nothing to me besides the main match feels like amazing. I don't know. Maybe it's just the main roster effect for me.
Yeah, probably.
Main roster fare isn't typically my preferred thing, but I think Ripley has had a really good year. She won the Rumble, which I thought had a good finish. She had one of the best women's matches of the year with Flair. She delivered a few solid ones. I think what also helps her a lot is the character work with Dom.
That's a huge part.
Being the de facto leader of a majority male group is a great look for her. Kind of the China-esque thing, I think really helps.
But
She's definitely
in
the
the
biggest
ring.
star in the women's division. Absolutely.
I think.
If AEW had more competition, maybe my pick would be different or even more difficult, but it's been a strong year for Ripley. And again, AEW struggles with having that consistency in the women's division.
I echo your sentiments about Athena. She's had a great run and has finally found a character, right? That's what was missing in NXT, where like she's really cool in the ring, but like I'm just not believing anything she does.
I think her character work.
She's settled into something really good.
She got really hot as babyface. Remember when she beat Baszler? But then it was like, I don't know. I feel like her thing's more defined now.
Remember her like Ember Moon promos? I'd be like, oh boy, here we go, because they were so cringy. But she's really good now, which is great to see.
Wait, no, she lost.
So she's really connecting, but she's doing it on a program that no one sees, right? Even like we're wrestling nerds, we admit that. We don't watch it. I watch it once in a blue moon. I watched it last week.
It's glorified dark.
And so for major awards like this, like visibility matters to me, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what
which
makes
is part of what got the women's match of the year, right?
Yes, so. And that's what makes this easy, that it's Rhea Ripley. And even though maybe she hasn't had this incredible run of amazing matches like a Danielson, the visibility, she's all over all the shows. She's
Judgment Day is definitely all over the
and as you said, like she is a leader of a male faction, which is pretty awesome to have too. Like that doesn't happen, and I think it's hard to argue for anyone else this year, really. So it's easily Rhea Ripley for me,
for sure.
All right, our final award, and that is what we like to call the Male Wrestler of the Year. Unanimous last year. We'll see if it's
was
this year.
Jon Moxley, because he picked up the pieces when Punk dropped the ball twice.
Right.
And he had great matches, always great promo work. So he really deserved it last year.
It's like the most, and I was never a huge fan.
Your
He's
words
like
was
the most consistent dude
so
in all areas.
He really earned it last year.
He did.
This year, he still makes it in there, but it's very different. Nominations are Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, which is probably the most surprising one to get in here, but very well deserved. Like Moxley, I think Orange Cassidy really earned his way into this one for
no
sure,
doubt,
with his title run. Jon Moxley again, not as high of a year, but like the Elite Blackpool feud is really great. His work in the C2 is really great. He's just always stellar, and he's always got to be appreciated. Our outside pick from New Japan and elsewhere is Will Ospreay. He called himself the last world beater, which I think is a very apt term for this year. MJF, obviously his title run that almost survived the year.
Yep.
Very barely got cut off.
Narrowly missed it.
Seth Rollins and Gunther. multiple on mentions have to be doled out, so I will go through that first. One for Orange Cassidy for even making it into the category, because that's just a testament to how great he did this year.
He did.
Because again, he should have had a ceiling that prevents him from getting here, but he just
feather in his
killed
cap.
it. Absolutely killed this year. Another one from MJ for a stellar world title runs here and one of the best stories of the year. And I'm going to give one to Seth because he had a workhorse run in WWE and he's doing his absolute best with a 4th secondary world title. Like his title is secondary
he was set up to fail,
by default, but he's still
fine.
doing really great.
Yeah,
so that's
fair.
Really great there, and he deserves it because he's doing the best he can, and he's had some matches that we liked still. Making this one an overall category that encompasses things outside we usually watch benefits no one more than Will Ospreay. It's safe to say he had one of the best years of all time, and the nickname The Last World Beater is one of the most fitting. He was all over the place. He was in New Japan, AEW, Impact, I think British Rev Pro, GCW, among others. He had a load of major matches this year with nothing short of great. Starting early this year, he had that all-timer against, Wrestle Kingdom, obviously. He had a great G1 run from what I saw. He almost won. He showed up in Impact for bangers with Speedball and Josh Alexander. He brought Jericho to his best match of the year at All In, obviously.
I enjoyed that,
He signed with AEW Full Gear, which was a big moment. And last but certainly not least, I don't know if I mentioned it, the greatest match of all time against the Mega Forbidden Door. He definitely got my attention with his appearances last year, because remember he came on Dynamite. I was excited. He had the match with Hardwood. He had the match with Cassidy that we really liked. He had the run in the Trios tournament with Aussie Open. But his run this year made a huge fan out of me. And I cannot state how excited I am for his AEW run this year, I guess. To have him signed is a huge get. I'm super excited. But his matches were great. His offense is super fun. His character work has improved tenfold too. That used to be
he used to kind of be like, okay, he's kind of like guy. Ricochet in terms of athleticism.
But he's so well-rounded now. It's
good.
So great.
Yep. Honorable mention for me too to Cassidy, just because I honestly thought his gimmick, his character put a ceiling on
Cassidy's in here and Roman Reigns isn't.
On what he could do and like the stories he could tell. But his run this year proved me wrong and captivated me for the whole time. He made the championship feel important and elevated it to, I think, the secondary title. Right?
Absolutely.
But it's Ospreay. It has to be Ospreay here. The resume is unbelievable. And as you said, spans several companies.
He was everywhere.
2 5+ star matches with Omega, a classic with Bayley. He made a star this year, right? In Shota Umino. That match has put Shota Umino on the map.
Put Umino on the map for sure.
Absolute war with Josh Alexander, just to name a few. It's similar to like when peak Omega in Japan, just everywhere he went and every match he had.
Here for sure.
His character's evolved, as you said. I find him really interesting on the mic and outside the ring, which was not always the case. This one was not a hard decision. I think this is an all-time year for Ospreay, so this was a pretty easy category for me to take. And I'm glad he signed with AEW because it makes us picking him a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because he's not a New Japan guy, which is a company we don't watch. But
and it's now I know I'm going to see him more, and I hope he can follow up well.
Yeah, so congratulations to every recipient of all our awards, and I guess that's going to wrap up our best of. We will have a worst of coming up within the next week or so, probably, right?
As we do.
Yeah, as we tend to take our time sometimes. And then we'll be back for our weekly flagship. If this is your first time checking us out, every Saturday we talk about wrestling for a couple hours.
World's End may or may not get a bonus. It might be lumped in.
We'll talk about AEW Dynamite, NXT, Impact, some main roster, some trivia, some news and rumors every Saturday. We're up to episode, I think, 181 is coming up.
Yeah.
So if you like what we do here, please check us out there. Tell somebody else to check us out as well. We're terrible at promoting ourselves. This is a little hobby we do for fun in the basement. So help us out, bring some more listeners. We really appreciate any time you took to come and join us here to listen to this podcast. We will see you back here on Saturday for sure for episode 181. And until then, everybody, take care.